Hello, my little croque messieurs. Today we're going to be talking about crypto bag fumbling. I've been speaking about it quite a bit. I always find it fascinating, and I make some content around it, right? Because there is no right answer. It is very difficult, friends, that you don't have a right answer. You know, in stocks, right? Let's actually look at stocks. In stocks, when you have a stonk, right? You have a stonk that's going up and maybe it dips down, and then you're looking at the price and earnings or something out here. And maybe during this period of time, you look at its fundamentals and you say, well, I'd like to check out the CEO. I'm following Warren Buffett. Do they have a moat? Is there a good manager, competitive advantage? Okay. If you ask Warren Buffett, when do you get rid of the stock? Okay. Usually the answer is when someone is willing to give it to you for an expensive valuation. That's what he says. So Warren Buffett, he believes you should own something that's really, really good. Why? Because it's going to help you survive through the bad times and through the okay times and the mild bull times. All right. The answer, though, about when to sell, he says, well, if someone gives you a really high price, there's a problem, though. What's high? You have to figure out your fundamental valuation. You have to see what people are willing to give you for whatever share you hold. And what they do is they look at future growth rates and they try to see whether the world has priced you to perfection. Okay. And also something about Warren Buffett, he doesn't get out unless he's got something as an alternative. That's interesting. Okay. Because you're allocating capital, right? Like puzzle pieces. And he believes you should only have 8 amazing stocks, really, even though the guy's got a lot, right? You only need 8. Otherwise, you get diversified too much, right? So it's an interesting concept. There's a problem with crypto, though. What's your fundamental valuation? It's really hard. Because your valuation, man, you got 1,000 things to compute. You've got Bitcoin's price. You've got Ethereum's price. How do you compute a narrative? I mean, what is even your fundamentals? The thing earns nothing. That's why a lot of stock market people give crypto valuation 0. Because there's no revenue. And if there is revenue, it's short term. That's what makes these things tough, friends. That's why I guess with crypto, the best thing to do, the simplest thing to do is to play it cycle by cycle. It's to look for dangerous points in the market and just assume that your dangerously euphoric point, whatever price you're given out in the whole marketplace, that's your expensive price. So, if Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin shoots up to 300K, all right, you might see a chain link at $150, okay? And I might say, well, I don't think that's euphoric, man. I think euphoric is $250. I can't argue with it, though. If I see a Bitcoin euphoric, that's the euphoric price, okay? And then you might have other coins, maybe XRP is $6, $7. But people in it might say, well, I think euphoric is $40 for XRP. But that's why people would then argue with it over time. So all we can do is look to the past, and we have some common themes, right? When we have these repetitive green monthly candles, they usually attract a lot of weak hands to come FOMO buy, and it becomes unsustainable after that point, okay? So even during 2017, you had, I believe, 6 green monthly candles for Ethereum. So Bitcoin's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think Ethereum was 6. Okay. So you're getting the point here. So when you have these 5 to 6 green candles in a row, that's when you have to look at everything and go, okay, it is what it is. The thing is, though, you can't get upset that you chose the wrong coins either, because it's so random, man. It's so random. And remember, you have these things fighting against you, like time and the age of the narrative as well, which is just strange, man, because you're trading network effects and narratives. But what about the fundamentals? Well, it's really tough, man, because, friends, crypto, you're a digital nation. If you are a digital nation, well, the cool thing is anybody can move anywhere, but it's a double-edged sword. Because anybody can move to any nation, they can click and bridge out. They can go to swap to any coin. Because everyone has access to do that, they do. Makes it really tough. You have to follow the memes, cults, religions, archetype. But even then, it doesn't basically solve everything, because you don't have a water pistol to everybody's head forcing them to be in your one coin. Which basically means When things go up, everything's rushed in. And then when things go down, everything crushes down. But people don't need to stay in one city. They don't need to stay in Hexico. They don't need to stay in Petodot land. They don't need to stay in Litecoin land. They don't need to. So that's what makes these things tough to compute. I want to show you this bag fumble though as well. Check this out. Truck incident. A developer accidentally burned $10 million worth of tokens while distributing pre-sale tokens for the upcoming meme coin Slurf. But the accident pushed Slurf's market value to 700 million. So not only are you battling this world where you're like, man, what is even the cash flow of these things? These things trade at like 300 years worth of earnings for this stuff. You're dealing in this world where you just like, basically, friends, do the equivalent of lose all your bars of gold at the middle of the Atlantic Ocean to the floor. So that's what makes these things super risky. But if we can survive through that, if you can suspend your belief and understand you're just trading network effects and attention, it all makes sense. So initially, people say that, and a lot of mid-curvers, use macro podcast mid-curvers, they say, oh, nothing in crypto's got value because there's no cash flow. Wrong. The market's correct. You're wrong. Okay. And what I mean by that is, well, the market, friends, it's smart. It knows AI is coming in the future. AI will be able to replicate any product. So if you're in a digital world, digital city, and everyone is digital, and a button press can move your attention away, easy, back and forth, who wins? It's the guy who's got all the attention. That's actually what the valuation goes to. That's Metcalfe's law. If you have a product-focused coin, well, unfortunately, your days get numbered faster and faster because of AI. AI can reiterate, slice and dice your product and make something. Very tough. You need the network. Especially, friends, when we have like 3D printing, you might make, oh, I've made a cool, like, bubble gun, a bubble-shaped bubble gun. That's cool. Okay, someone just goes and copy-pastes it, 3D print. Okay, now what? Do you see? That's why the crypto market, it looks premature, but it's actually the most forward-thinking. It is the future. If everybody has access to make every item that they can, well, whoever's got the meme, cult, religion, archetype wins because you've got all the attention. It's fascinating to think about, isn't it? Check this out as well. The other side. Land mint was huge, but the smart contract was a mess. Over $200 million was burned in gas. Each mint cost 2.5 ETH. Yuga Labs blamed Ethereum. A lot of wasted money here. So you see this digital gold rush to get like these NFTs and these lands. That's why NFTs, they're interesting because they're blocks of altcoins, but it's digital land. We're trying to make land scarce in our world here. Yeah, which is trying to mimic real estate. NFTs though, friends, it's unique. Why? Because like real estate on the internet, you can swap it around and move it anywhere. You can't do that in the real world. It stays there. It's geographically bound. Which also makes it less volatile. But I wonder what the future's going to look like. Not only when you just tokenize stuff, but when people become more digital, when their attention is more in the digital realm. That's how the world's going to change. Crypto is going to be at the forefront. 8 years ago, one wallet claimed 7 aliens and 7 ape punks. Sold them for 100 ETH. Today, it's worth 35,000 Ethereum, $54 million. Pain. See that? We have these digital gold rush. Did we have one in this cycle? I don't know, man. It's really tough to get these first cycle unicorns, man. It's really, 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 really tough. That's why I know I'll talk about stuff like when you see any first cycle unicorn, it's very, very, you had Friendtech, social finance. Yeah, man, you had gamble finance, stablecoin super cycle, maybe PNUT. Man, it's hard. It is hard. It's really hard. Especially as we get more people, more narratives, and we've mined out a lot of low-hanging fruit. That's why if you can get information asymmetry, it's worth a lot. Really is. Information asymmetry, that's the gap of the information. So if you can keep learning and you raise your gap level up here, your information, and the average market participant is down there, you can sit through the swings, whereas no one knows what's going on. I found this also funny as well, friends. Let's crank it up a bit. Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands Happens to all of us, friends. So Alex Becker bought 6 figures of PNUT the Squirrel at $2 billion valuation. Man, it's kind of funny. Well, the deed is done. I just bought 6 figures of PNUT as my first major meme coin investment. If I lose money, so be it. I refuse to watch others make money on the patron saint of Magnum Dongs. PNUT without me. That's funny. I do think this pulls a shib peppy though. So I've just learned this language, man. It's funny, like, we all get it, dude. Look, he says, I refuse to watch other people make money. That is, my friends, that's the euphoria of a bull market in crypto. When people are sitting and they're like, I can't let that person win. No. I got to get in. I got to get in. I got to do something. And funny enough, everyone does it at the same time. So we are in this digital world, digital cities, network effects. Yeah, it's network effects. Yeah, it's actually really network effects. When you see other people making a lot of money betting on another network effect and you're not in one, oh my gosh, move over. People have to get in. And so we have the cycle repeating. I hope all of these coins come back. I really do. But that's what crypto is going to be like at the tops, man. Just like at the bottoms, friends. People say, I refuse to let the market take any more of my money, and I get out. You know, when it comes to that, if you think the market going down because of thin liquidity, if you see that as a loss, okay, you're never going to make it. You've lost already. You've literally lost already. You're an actual loser. Yeah. If you see that as a loss, okay. If you just see it as volatility, as low liquidity, dog shit, fugazi, subhuman filth selling, if you see it like that, you win. All right? And what about on the upside? If you see candles going up, not as your ticket to the future of finance, but as euphoria and people wanting to get in, you have a big advantage as well. Okay, now we're waiting for that moment. It's going to be a while, but that's how you win, friends. That's ultimately how you win. Okay, but don't worry about that up part. That's the okay part, right? That's the having fun part. The part you got to worry about, you've already been through. We've already survived through it. It's the bear market stuff. Yeah. When people look at their portfolio, you can always tell a noob. They always think, I am down from this date, therefore I'm lost. I've lost money, etc., etc. They're losers. They never make it. They never make it. Taking these random points in time, okay? You have to make a decision with the information you know at that time, okay? And if you're going off these statistics, such as, like, for example, Trump wins, we get 1 green monthly candle, then we do freaking 4 or 5 red in a row, you can't hang yourself up about that. You can't literally if you let that get to you, you're never going to make it. Because I promise you, there will be other black swans and other random events that happen in your market career, and it's going to wipe you out, right? 100% certainty. I promise you it will wipe you out. For the rest of us, we understand, man, friends. That's why the strategy is, man, hold till euphoria. That's it. Wait for euphoria. Believe in something. That's where the mantra comes from. Are we going to make it though? Of course we are. Like, subscribe, bell button, or catch you soon.